So quick preface here. This video is going to be used for like 3 different assignments. So there's going to be sections in the video that you can go through. So to start with, if you're in the GPE class and you are trying to check out the code of this, there will be a section or a chapter for that. If you're in the VRT class, there are chapters for that. And if you're just looking for the game demo, it's in the chapters as well. So check in the description or use the chapters function on YouTube and you should be absolutely golden. Alrighty, so this is a bit of a demo of my final project for both VRT 310 and GPE 338. So it's just a simplistic little tic-tac-toe game here. You can see the title screen, it's just super basic. And if you try to move your camera around, see, it just stays in one place. So, yeah. Alrighty. So, here we go. You can also see this is just a straight up simple environment. Wish it was a little bit more complex, but I did not have a whole lot of time. But, ooh, come on. Let me do that. Alrighty. So, it's super simplistic. Just interact with the board. And unfortunately, I do not have another player because I did not have time to make another player. And, I'm not making it 2-player, I'm making it sort of AI based, but I did not have time to implement an AI, so, I had to go with this. It's definitely not exactly what I wanted, but it works well enough. You can see that it actually fades out and then has whoever won. So I'll actually demonstrate that works for both here. So let me go ahead and do this, and circle wins. I previously had a glitch where it would completely skip this part if you went in on the second time because I'm a little bit stupid with the static variables and it did not need them. Ooh, come on. There we go. And then come down here. Let me show you, it also has a stalemate part. So there's that. Oh, did I screw this up? Yes, I very much did. Hold on. I'm not the best at giving a demo of what I've done, But here we go. Oh wait, no, this isn't a stalemate, is it? Oh yeah, this would be a stalemate. There we go. Nobody wins. I was just about to demo that you can also win on multiple parts, but it doesn't really matter because it only shows that you win once. Suppose I should show off the, oh lord. Well, that doesn't look too good, does it? I'll actually demonstrate that that it functions in the console, because I know you're supposed to have like no errors because that's a requirement of the GPE 338. So let me just demo that here quick. Yeah, alrighty. Let's just, keep your eye out down here. There should be like a warning because layer 31 is not set to teleport, and I don't actually know how to fix that just yet. So you can just see the warning down there. Just load into a new level quickly, and yeah, no errors, thankfully. Alrighty, so this is just the code walkthrough. This is just to, go through all the requirements for the game, or at least for the Unity game. So the first one to start with is the namespace, and I actually use the namespace right here to encapsulate pretty much everything related to the board. So you can actually see it's defined up here, and it has a bunch of stuff in it, like win state, board state, row search as well, like a bunch of enums and others. And you can actually see up here, it's this test board implementation is using it. So there is that. The next one is coroutines, and I'm actually using them in 2 places, both in the test board and the level manager. So in the test board, this one actually runs this code once, And I'm not actually sure if this is the best way to do it, but I'm sure there is a better way. So yeah, just run this code once, and then down here you wait for like 5 seconds, and then you load the level, which is the title screen in this case. So there's all that. The other one is actually in the level manager itself, which, you know, it's also pretty simple. Right here, I'm just using an async operation to load in a scene. And then once that scene is done loading, you actually just straight up load into it. And here's the code down here to enforce that low level code that we called a little earlier in the first coroutine. So there's all that. See, it's relatively simple. I'm sure there's more complex ways to use this, but that's all I've done for now. So here's our implementation of a interface, and in all honesty, this would probably be better suited as a abstract class, but required interface, so I'm gonna have to use interfaces. So, but yeah, you can see it just defines which player's turn it is, the grid or the game board, I would say. So this is a 2D array. So, oh, yeah, 2D array. A function to emplace a board state, which would be an empty or a circle or a cross. So you can actually like play the game, right? But here's if board is full. This is just to check if the board is entirely full of pieces. This is great to check if you have like a stalemate. There's init board, which is just to initialize the board. Obviously, that's pretty simple. Don't really need to speak much more on that. And here's the draw visual board. This is just to keep on drawing the states of these to the game board. And that's pretty much all I have for the interfaces. For the getters and setters, it's actually just pretty much the same thing. Just implementing a private variable and a getters and setters variable right here to modify that private variable. This is pretty much born out of a limitation of the interface. Again, probably would be better for an abstract class, but requirements and stuff. So, alrighty, let's get to the scriptable object here. And unfortunately, these two are not used along with this one, although this would be relatively easy to implement. So, this one is actually used, and I will demonstrate that here soon. Let me actually get to Unity. So you can see this debug mode variable. If I play the game right now, you'll actually see nothing on the console because, well, you may see like a warning or something, but you won't see anything print to the console because that stuff is sort of behind those debugging if check statements or whatever. So yeah, you can see the warning. That's nothing. But I guess it's easier to see. But you do need to see the console. So get back to here. All right, press start. Yeah, nothing. Nothing being printed. Let's just quickly win this because yeah, and you can see nothing is printed. However, if we stop playing, then start playing again, you should see a bunch of stuff printed to the console, like what level you're loading, or rather the name of the level you're loading. And you can see it actually prints that the debug mode is enabled. So start this. Yeah, you can see it prints down here, right? And this is actually another function of the debug mode, which should actually not be happening, but it's happening. So yeah, that's practically it. And you can just see I immediately win because cross wins. You can actually see which I won on, which would be row 1 and the back diagonal, which is this one right here. So yeah, and then it loads the title screen again. So yeah, debug mode, scriptable object, or game settings, scriptable object rather. Now let's get into the ones that you could choose from. So the first one is the generics, and honestly, this is probably not the best use of it, but oh, it's a use of it nonetheless. So if you have a, this is actually really good if you want to have a different type of thing to store your board states, or your board rather. Like say you wanted a single 1D array that holds board states, you can probably handle that through this. But if you didn't have that type of thing implemented yet, it would just, this function isn't implemented yet, and it would just go. It wouldn't even try to search for it. So the next thing is JSON. So loading from JSON here. This is actually taking the JSON text that was loaded from a resource, which sort of a twofer there. But yeah, it's loading from JSON into this, which would it be? Would it be Scene Man, or I think it's Scene Manager right here in the pJSON. And the pJSON has, yeah, it holds a list of the levels that are defined, and I'll actually have to open up the JSON file here just so you can see that it's just sort of listed out like this. Certainly not the best way of doing it, but it's a way of doing it within the limitations of the implementation that we're supposed to do. So there's the, yeah, there's that, the loading from JSON. And you can actually see it was printed out in the scriptable object demonstration, so you can see it's loading from there. Also loading from resources, literally just went over this, loading resources from the, or loading the JSON file from the resources, but I have another thing, and it loads a material from the resources, which again, probably not the best way of doing it, but it's a way of doing it, so yeah. What else here? LINQ. Yeah, use of LINQ right here. It's definitely not the syntax we went over in class, but it's syntax nonetheless, so yeah, all this does is go through the first, or go through the row of the board and then check against all items of the board to see if it is the current item. So this is just the way to search for if a row is completed. So yeah, you can see it's adding to the row. It's adding an enum to the row, the found rows. So there's the use LINQ. Don't know if this one counts. Probably does not, since it's not actually used, but here's the custom editor. This was really only used in debugging, so I don't expect this to be really used, so, or really count towards anything, so, you know. So this is the VRT310 portion of my project. My video, rather. So we're just going to go over some of these things. The classification of this project, it's a VR game with a script. Yeah, it's a VR sitting and standing game because you don't actually move around that much. So it's pretty easy to understand, I suppose. What else is there to talk about now? Yeah, anyway, some of the objectives are, well, I want to get this class done with, I want to at least pass the class, you know? So that's one of the reasons this project exists, but other than that, it's meant for people who want to play a puzzle game in a very scenic environment, I guess. So there's, you saw the game demo already, so you've already seen that's not entirely accurate to what I wanted, but in the earlier pitch document, it was quite a bit more scenic than that. But some of the rules here, I broke a lot of these rules. I'm going to be real with you. I didn't break this one. I completely planned, but I failed to get it all done. Safety first. I don't actually know if you can see the world around you. That would really be something helpful. Yeah, I do keep the camera still. I mean, as long as you're like keeping your head still, there's nothing to worry about. Cut the cut. You even saw that if you move your head around on the menu screen, the text moves with you, even though you should probably, I don't know, lock that to one axis, I guess, but yeah. Limit change in brightness. Did not do that because, no time. Constant velocity. You're not moving at all in this game, so no reason to do that. Performance and optimization. It runs at like 60-ish frames per second, but that's because my hardware is really garbage. If you run it anything other than a laptop from, 2020, it's probably going to be way better, but yeah. Users don't listen to the variables. Yeah, there's a lot of limitation in the game. Not even gonna lie. Mainly because I have not implemented a whole lot, but yeah. Yeah. Keep the story. There's almost no real story in this demo. There was a lot more planned though. Reading is hard. Yeah, this is something I think I might have broken, although it's not really blurry. I mean, we can go over here and check it out in the scene. It's not hard to read start and exit, and once you actually win, there's no real... It's not really that hard to read which person won, although I could probably scale that to the screen. So anyway, let the user act. Yeah, I mean, you interact with the board, you interact with the buttons. I suppose that's something I didn't break. Yeah, I forgot the audio, or more so, I just completely ignored it because I do not have the time to put in audio. I wish I did, but Locomotion. Since it's an unsolved problem, I didn't use it at all. It just doesn't work for the game at all in general, so. Yeah, a lot of iteration. Yeah, I mean, I iterated a lot with functions. Gameplay, I suppose I iterated a bit. That's pretty much all for the rules. Immersion, there's not a lot of immersion. I suppose there was like fading and a couple other things. Probably should have added fading to the title screen, but that's fun that I didn't. A lot of the source material. I used, I'll actually show you what I used in here. Some of these. I just use a lot of plugins for, obviously, the VR, the device simulator as well. I can't go over how to, start those up or actually implement them because it's just way out of the league of this video. So, yeah. Here's some of the packages. I'll load for a second here. But yeah, the device simulator, XR, core fundamentals, or whatever. I don't remember what it's called. Yeah, I didn't think I used any of these. What the hell? Oh, these are in the registry in my project. Yeah, a lot of these just come prepackaged. Test framework, TextMesh Pro. I think you have to import that, so yeah, I use that. RP was already in there, so yeah, XR Interaction Toolkit and the XR Plugin Management, which I don't think I even use that much, but yeah, and here you can see the device simulators right there. Don't think I use much of the starter assets, but it's always good to have. It's pretty much all for the source materials. I pretty much made everything by myself on this, so. Methods of interaction. I mean, you really just interact with the buttons and the game board. It's all you really interact with for now. And there is no locomotion at all. So I didn't really have to design for this, that's always fun. And UI. Yeah, you already saw the UI. It's super basic. Just the logo of the game and how did I do that? Okay. The logo of the game and the buttons, and that's practically it. And of course, you also saw the fade of the screen and who won on the UI, so it's all I have, honestly. It's honestly not all I wanted to do, but it's all I can do in this 1 week that I had to actually build this, so that's pretty much the end of it.